Hi, I'm Isaac, and this is my bus, Skooliana, and it's a 2003 Ford E450 Powerstroke diesel short bus. And I've been in and out of it for about a year and a half, 2 years. You want to check it out? So up here, this is kind of my general storage. I just kind of throw things there. Right now I keep like microphones and a Zoom recorder, because when I first built this bus, it was to be a full-time musician and go on tour. The bus was originally gray, and I just hated the way it felt. So that was the one thing that I had to do, was paint it white. So everything was repainted in here white. And then I kept the metal roof, which I love because of the magnets. I can literally just put magnets up everywhere, and that's why I kind of keep my hats right here, and I can move them or move the lights or whatever. This was an old school bus, so it used to have black paddy things. I took all the black pads off and I replaced it all with cedar paneling. And then everything in this, because I came from a van. I lived in a van that you couldn't stand in it. And I know how important storage is everywhere. So storage is built everywhere. There isn't dead space. So when I was building this armrest here, we made a little shoe rack and kind of a junk thing. I just kind of stored junk and stuff in there. I installed the backup camera because, you know, backing this thing up is a mother. And with the dividers I have back here, I can't see anything. So luckily at the time I had a girlfriend, and she would like lay on the bed and like tell me how close I'm getting to stuff. So this was mandatory. And then the curtain rods, this is actual, industrial piping or whatever, and then you just cut it to length and use the mounts, and that's what we use everywhere, because you can literally make them custom and they look really cool and rustic. When I was test driving this, one of the first things I realized was just how solid it is. It's literally just rock solid. It's easy to drive. It gets better gas mileage, or the same as my old van, and I have crazy amount more room. It did do pretty good on fuel economy until I put the really nice tires on it, which saves me in the winter but costs me like 2 to 3 miles per gallon. They're worth it, especially for safety, because no one's towing me out of anything. Welcome to this side of the bus. So I have a 14-gallon stainless steel holding tank, and it's all manual, because in my van before I learned that things break and you don't intend them to. So I didn't want everything hooked up on my electrical system in case it breaks, which it has in this twice. So it's just a 14-gallon stainless steel holding tank with tubing hooked up to a manual foot pump. So I just pump it, boom, and then it just drops through the drain into a holding tank underneath. And then I just have a trash in here, and there is a water filter in there too. And I didn't have that in at first, and then I got water from a campground. And one day I opened my water tank and noticed some weird like filmy stuff. So I am a huge ambassador for water filters because it was nasty. Oh yeah, and I have some stuff back here too, like dish soap and hand soap and blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, and I carry 14 gallons there, and I have 2 more 7-gallon tanks underneath the bed. And I did that because I like to get purified water now, ever since that happened, from like Walmart or some place that sells like drinking water. And I'll just take my 2 7-gallon tanks up there, fill this tank, go back, fill them again, and then just put them in the back, and it's clean, good water that I don't have to worry about. The countertops are my favorite part of the entire bus. And I wanted to do live edge counters in my van the first time. And I went to a hardwood store, and they wanted $300 for a piece from about here to here. And I decided that I wasn't going to pay for that. So one of the first trips when I was building this, before it was completely built out, we were driving, I think, to Bend, and then we saw a sign that said slabs. He just had a pile of slabs. I'm thinking he's gonna tell me $200. I'm like, how much for this piece of wood? He's like, oh, $35. So this live edge slab costs $35. And I love it. It's imperfect, which is beautiful. There's nails and wormholes. I'll do this in every build I do from here on out. This is the first drawer I've ever made in my life. And I remember being super intimidated by it. I had no idea how to do it. But the one thing that I've learned in my life is I just send it and start figuring it out as I go. And it's on, I got really expensive sliders, with, like, you know, at Home Depot, that were supposed to lock or whatever when you push it in. And that's not true. You need to latch everything. So this is just, I think this was originally just a normal like little hook thingy, but I broke the metal off, and then we made this little hemp thing, and it comes around and just ties right there, and then it kind of just holds it in place. And the same thing for the fridge. I got those expensive sliders again that didn't work. It's just a piece of plywood with a little stopper on it, just on drawer slides, and then I mounted them to the sides of the cabinet frame, and that's it. It just slides in and out. I got this 12-volt fridge for $150 off Craigslist. I was just looking, and these are like $500-600. And this was in my last van. This thing's lasted 3 years. The stove, this thing's rad. Has 2 burners on top. It's a Camp Chef. 2 burners, it's propane. And basically, all I use the oven for is frozen pizzas. And it's totally worth it. Just frozen pizzas, that's all I need. But I use the burners all the time. And I also didn't put a toilet or shower in here originally, but I added them. So now I have this little guy. It's just a little fold-out thing for emergencies. I try to find a toilet, but what I do is I put the thing on it, and I have compostable toilet bags. So if I'm in a real bad situation, and then I can just go bury it, and it decomposes, and it's all good, and like it takes no space at all. And that's my toilet situation. I think it's the huge benefit of van life or bus life in general is the community, like meeting people. Like I've met some amazing, awesome, creative, just loving people from this. Like, you know, when I was working full-time at a job, like you have your coworkers, and then what? Once you're out of school, it's like, where do you meet people, really, besides the bar, or, you know? But like, this community is just very embracing and giving. I've learned from them. We've collabed on things. That's the biggest benefit for me, is the people, not me, not anything I gain, but just the people and the friendships and the relationships that I've made because of this lifestyle. This is the other side of the bus. This is my couch living area, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I built everything by hand. Nothing is pre-made. And because if you look at cabinets like in real life, they're pretty long and wide. And coming from a van where it was really skinny, I wanted to make sure I kept as much room in the middle as possible. So I only made this as wide as I needed it to be to sit on. This pulls out into a bed. This is upholstery foam that I found on Amazon for like crazy cheap. I think it was like $30 or something crazy. And it works awesome. This, like I said, it pulls out, but it's such a pain in the butt that I don't ever pull it out. I pulled it out like once. I'll show you underneath it. So I did camera work, and I keep a lot of my camera stuff under here. Tripod, drone, gimbal. I have lighting, all kinds of stuff under there. And then over here, this is the shower I added. So basically, I'll pull it out. It's basically like it's a water heater pan, and then I use these hooks to hang my shower curtain up, and then I have a line right here that's attached to it that goes to the gray tank underneath, and then it's all just gravity. So I take the shower and the water just drops down to the tank. In a pinch, if I'm getting too stinky in town, I can take a shower. Decoration wise, this was kind of an accident. This is not what I planned the bus to be. So I was using wainscoting up to here, and then I kind of accent paneled here and here, and I really, really loved it. I kind of loved the contrast of it and kind of the like farm housey vibe of it. And then I ended up doing it on the back, which I didn't intend on doing either. I love my doors. It was an idea I had to kind of do this like farm Z thing. Somebody on Instagram told me that I did it wrong and the Z's backwards, but I don't care. And this is just cedar fence post boards that are kind of really rusticy and cool, and they're treated, so whatever. And then, you know, here's more of these little latch things that you put on everything, latch everything. So we open it up. So it's my pantry, pots, pans, food. And then I have my van life HVAC with my heater coming out right here. But that's my pantry, full of food and stuff crammed everywhere. Okay, over on this side is my closet, but inside here, it's really crammed full of stuff. But it's just full of clothes, towels. I even have, like, my laptop is in there somewhere. Oh yeah, and my solar drops in. So my solar cables drop in, I hit them in the closet, and I drop it in and run it along this and then back to my battery. So this is the bed area, and this is a full-size bed, which fits almost perfectly back here. It left this much room to where I built a headboard and I put more storage, and it's just knick-knack, paddywhacks, all kinds of stuff. I use my handy-dandy jackery to kind of charge my phones. And these are just my magnet hooks all over, 2 strings of fairy lights that again are remote controlled. So all my lighting is not wired to my house system, because in my previous builds, things break always. And I wanted everything on separate systems. So the batteries are completely separate, and they're AA batteries, rechargeable. So I just recharge them, and then boom, it's charging off my system, but not. So I have lights when my battery goes out, and I have plumbing when my battery goes out. My charge controller is over there. It's a 40 amp Renogy charge controller. I have a 2000 watt Renogy inverter with my switch right there, and I can Bluetooth control it from my phone and see how much solar I'm getting. I have a 300 watt Grape solar panel up there, and I have 100 amp hour lithium battery that I store the power in. And oh yeah, and I have a 40 amp DC to DC charger, so when the vehicle is turned on, it charges my battery. So when I don't have solar out here in the PNW, which is a lot, I just turn my rig on a little bit and it charges my system. I used to use a Mr. Buddy heater. I still have a propane heater, but I upgraded to a Propex HS 2800. It's thermostat controlled, so I just set the temperature, I turn it on, and it will literally kick on and off to keep the temperature in the bus. It works fantastic. The curtains back here are different than up there. Up there, it's just a sliding system. There's gaps. Back here, I didn't necessarily want those gaps. So everything's on a snap system. So they drop and they snap against the windows. And then the bed is raised up quite a bit. I guess I am a musician, but I was more active, and I originally built this to go on tour, was the original idea. So I built this up pretty high so that I could keep speakers and light, blah, 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 a bunch of crap under there. And it has a lot of stuff. But now I have like a paddle board under there. The furnace for the heater is over here with the exhaust pipes. I keep, camp wood under there, camping chairs, a lot of stuff under there. By having this bus, basically, my bills are very low. Like, I paid cash for this. I built it on a credit card that I paid off. I have a cell phone bill, and it doesn't even come close to what rent or a mortgage would be. So the freedom with that, I don't have to make as much money to survive. I don't have to grind as hard to survive. When your bills are, $1,500 a month or $2,000, you got to have a real job to support that. But when I have to pay for cell phone and fuel, I can make half of that, and I'm just as comfortable, and I can have way more time, and I'm not trapped. This is the outside of the bus, and probably the most talked about question I always have are the trees on the side of my bus. And it's not paint. So everybody knows. Everybody asks me, how'd you paint that? It's not paint. It's a vehicle wrap. There was a guy who quoted me $3,000 to print this and apply it. And I was like, no. And the universe provided, and a guy literally hit my DMs the same day and said, hey, I do vehicle wraps for a living if you ever need sticker work. It's AP Graphics Lab, okay? That's who did it. The awning, CVT is freaking amazing. And I'm from Oregon, born and raised. I love supporting Oregon companies. They're from here. I'd recommend it to anybody. So this is my back deck. My buddy helped me weld this on the back deck, and I had this before the upper deck. And I didn't have this ladder at first. I have a telescoping ladder that I was using to get on the deck. It just looked a little sketchy, and I didn't want anybody to get hurt. So I had a fixed ladder made, but it's solid. Boom. Welcome to my skoolie deck, one of my favorite places on the bus. And my buddy, who's a woodworker, he did the art in the bedroom. I gave him the dimensions, just asked him if he wanted to make art pieces for this. He's like, hell yeah. So he made these art pieces. It's more trees and mountains out of like old recycled flooring. And I popped those in there, and I think it looks super rad. And I love chilling up here all the time. So I'm Isaac, and this is my bus Skooliana. Thank you guys so much for watching Tiny Home Tours. Much love. Thanks you guys for inviting me to be on your channel. If you guys want to follow along on the bus's journey, I have a YouTube, a TikTok, and an Instagram. It's just at Skooliana on everything. You can find it. Come say hi. I try to respond to every single message because I want to be a real person to all of you, and I want to help inspire other people to make decisions to jump into this lifestyle. I have a personal Instagram, and I play music, and that's at Isaac Turner IT. Hope you guys have a good day. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Bye.